It's not lazy, it's just half-ass reviews.
Let me tell you a story about a time I was walking around in Best Buy. I found a game for the Project Cafe with a cool looking cover and I thought, shit! How have I not heard of this? Fearing it might be like that Rodea game that had the cool cover but shitty gameplay, I looked it up before buying it. Turns out that it was that Fire Emblem Shin Megami Tensai crossover that I've read about but never really knew when it was coming out. And you'd think they'd put Fire Emblem instead of FE on the cover. I've actually been looking forward to this game and I almost overlooked it in the store. Oh my god! Anyway, I bought it. And that's the end of the story. But while we're here, I'll review the game. I had no idea what to expect at all, but I had high hopes. The first thing I noticed was the graphics and presentation. It's kinda hard to explain, but they just make me feel happy. It's got a really cool style, lots of cool colors, and look at what happens when you go to the menu. That's so pleasant, I just want to pee white mud all over my face. It even properly uses the gamepad and doesn't feel tacked on with funny little text messages and maps. And the game's Japanese as hell, like most modern JRPGs, they didn't bother redubbing it into English. Their attitude's that we're lucky to even get it in North America, but I don't really mind the Japanese language. When voice acting in games is done right, like in Metal Gear Solid or Resident Evil 1,
you were almost a Jill sandwich.
It's awesome. But bad voice acting will suck me right out of the whole thing. And more often than not, I think JRPGs have really cheesy voice acting, like in The Last Story in Final Fantasy X. Which is where my fat ass dipped out of that particular series. If Legend of Zelda never has voice acting, I won't mind at all, since reading's not a big deal. I mean, I learned how to in kindergarten. Shit! For all I know, the Japanese dialogue's corny as hell, but I'd never notice since I'm not fluent in the language. And since I'm half-assedly trying to learn the language, it doesn't hurt to hear it in the game I'm playing. I feel pretty boss when I actually understand some phrases. But back to the game. This is the first new RPG I've played in a really long time where the battle system isn't overly complicated and involves you running around waiting to be able to attack. But as soon as I saw the Final Fantasy VII Remake having that kind of a battle system, I immediately lost most of my interest in that game. That's the main reason why I don't like the genre as much as I used to. A lot of JRPG fans listening to me right now probably want to shove their fist up my ass since it's not really that hard, and I know it's not, but I just don't like it as much. Maybe it's an acquired taste, and a lot of fun if you have the patience to learn it, but I'd rather just have there be a simplistic turn-based battle system in my RPGs. That's not to say that the battling system in this game is mindless, though. I won't explain it in detail because this isn't a walkthrough, and the game explains it better anyway. So if you want to know, just play the game, you fuck-ass. It's detailed enough to where you have to think about how to battle, but not overly complicated to where you just want to stop playing altogether. It's stylish, charming, and fun with a weird concert environment that makes no sense. And grinding goes a long way, which most people probably hate, but I always feel accomplished despite how repetitive the task actually is. At least the load time for a battle sequence is quick, and they're easy to avoid altogether if you feel like it. Similar to Earthbound, you can see the enemies approaching you and avoid battle altogether if you're just trying to get some items that you may have missed. It's kind of a wacky game, and a lot of things make no sense. You're trying to be heroes, but you're equally as concerned with being an entertainer, and being a better entertainer makes you stronger in battle, apparently. I've never played a Shin Megami Tensai game before, but the Fire Emblem presence is barely here. With a few characters, weapons, the level up sound effect, and probably one or two more things I can't think of right off the top of my ass. But now I'm suddenly more interested in playing games from the Shin Megami Tensai series, which I suppose was the goal, so good job, Atlas, I guess. But seriously, this game's a shitload of fun, and the only real complaint I could think of is that the camera kinda sucks. Tokyo Mirage Sessions for the Wii U gets, 12 out of 14. Fuck it. Shit!